Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Rafael P. Roman. Unless Congress acts, DACA, the Obama-era program that allows undocumented immigrants who came to the United States as children to live and work here without fear of deportation, will expire in March. And that would leave more than 40,000 New Yorkers who benefit from DACA in a sort of legal limbo. Now, with the fate of the program on Capitol Hill far from certain, Bronx Assemblyman Luis Sepulveda is proposing two bills aimed at supporting DACA recipients here in New York. One bill would allow undocumented immigrants currently protected by DACA to keep their driver's license even after the program ends. The other bill would allow dreamers to apply for free tuition under the state's Excelsior Scholarship Program. Sepulveda hopes to introduce the bills during the upcoming session, but faces a tight timeline before the program is set to elapse. Democratic Assemblyman Luis Sepulveda joins me now. Assemblyman, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, before we get to your bills, let me ask you the big question. What happens to the 40,000 plus New Yorkers who benefit from DACA and the 800,000 who live in the United States across the country who benefit from DACA if Congress does not pass a new DACA bill?
That's the problem, is that there's such a level of uncertainty that we don't know exactly what would happen. I mean, legally, potentially, they can be removed from the country. They can, all these benefits that they receive now. For example, here in New York State, recipients are allowed to drive a license. They would acquire a driver's license. We don't know what's going to happen after March of 2018 when the program expires. This is an opportunity for us as New Yorkers, actually people throughout our country, to show a certain level of humanity for individuals who came to this country through no fault of their own. Their parents brought them here when they were children. These children have been educated through our school systems, K through 12, because here, New York City public schools, we don't ask your immigration status. They've done well. To be a recipient of DACA, you have to pass certain stringent rules. You have to have certain grade point averages. You have to have no criminal convictions. And one of the arguments that people who oppose this say that it's a drain on our resources, our financial resources, but this is the opposite. Here in New York City alone, DACA recipients, the Dreamers, for example, they contribute about $1.9 billion to the gross domestic product of the city. When you have a president who, when you have a white supremacist march, says that, you know, there's some good people in that march, yet is done something to potentially remove what are really good people in this country. And these are these DACA recipients, these are these Dreamers. These are the best and the brightest. These are the people that we should be embracing.
Well, the president said he wants Congress to pass a DACA bill. You know, you give him that because, I mean, there were many, even some Democrats, legal experts, that said that by executive order, President Obama didn't really have the constitutional ability to.
If he really wanted this program to continue, he could have continued the program. There just seems to be this mentality now that's emanating from federal government that all the problems we have in this country are immigrants. And, you know, they've forgotten that immigrants built this country.
Well, let's get to your bills.
Yes.
The first bill deals with, even if there is no new DACA, that the DACA recipients now would be allowed to keep their driver's license.
That's correct.
Tell me why that's necessary.
Well, for example, many of these recipients have children here that go to school. They have to go to their jobs. They have to go to medical appointments. A vehicle is very...
but tell me why it's necessary for a bill to be passed for that to happen.
Because we don't know right now what the status is, what's going to happen once the program expires. So we want to make sure that DACA recipients are protected and are able to keep their driver's license because of what I've indicated.
You know, but there are 12 states, including District of Columbia, that allow undocumented immigrants to have driver's license, DACA or no DACA. How come a progressive state like New York doesn't have that?
That begs the question. When the issue was discussed, when a prior governor tried to bring the measure to New York State, the Republicans in the Senate were vehemently opposed. In fact, they're vehemently opposed to it now.
Really?
And so we don't have legislation right now that permits them to maintain their licenses. And so that's why it's a necessity that we pass this bill in a very compressed time.
Okay, yeah. The second bill would allow current DACA recipients, whether there's a DACA or not, to have Excelsior scholarships. This is free scholarship to colleges for SUNY universities and colleges.
Let's be clear. Excelsior is not a free program per se. You have to avail yourself of all the other financial benefits you have, including TAP. One of the questions on TAP is your immigration status. You have to be a citizen. These Dreamers that can take advantage of this program will not qualify based on that alone. So my bill will circumvent the requirements of TAP or any other program that they have to avail themselves before they can apply for the Excelsior program. I want to remove these barriers for these kids because, this is what we want to do. These kids are tax-paying students. These are highly productive individuals in this society. And when we talk about immigration, these are precisely the people that we should be encouraging.
What kind of support are you getting for both of your bills in the Assembly and in the State Senate?
Well, I can tell you, I will have many co-sponsors. The members of the task force, which are primarily Latino legislators, the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian caucus will be endorsing it. And I've gotten several members in the Senate who have pleaded with me to allow them to carry the bill in the Senate.
What do you think? Will these two bills pass?
I'm hoping that if we have a special election and we can fill those two seats and we have control of the Senate, that I think it will pass.
So listen, could the governor get what you want out of these bills enacted through executive order?
He probably could do that. That's correct. That's something that
Have you spoken to him about that?
All the bills that we try to pass, we discuss with Programming Council in the Assembly, and we have discussions with the people in the governor's office. He knows the bill's there. I haven't been contacted by anybody at the governor's office to discuss it. I don't know what position he's going to take, but certainly if we bring it to him for signature, then the ball is in his court. And he's as a progressive governor, a progressive state, we should lead by example.
All right. Well, Assemblyman, thank you so much for joining us today
Thank you.
and talking about this important subject.
Thank you for the invitation. We need to bring attention to this issue.
Thank you.